Today, something a little special. A homemade chicken tikka masala with homemade naan. Can't beat it. It's absolutely delicious. I've been tweaking this recipe for a while. It really works. Start with making a spice rub. If you feel confident with a knife, grab some garlic, some ginger and slice them up so it's almost powder. Otherwise, if you're not, just grate it. Really easy. Big thumb-sized piece of ginger and about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. Take 4 teaspoons of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds and 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds. Now, I didn't actually have powdered form, so I chucked them in my spice blender and used that, which I think actually gives you better results because they're so fresh and amazing because you're not left with a powder that's had time to kind of go off. So you've got the fresh oils inside the seeds, cracked open there and then, and it gives you such amazing flavour. Now split that spice mix up into 2 portions, equal sizes. Put one somewhere safe and use the other one to marinate the chicken. So chuck about 300 grams of yogurt in with the spice mix. I actually use turkey because I'm on a bit of a weight loss thing at the moment, but you can always use chicken. Cut them up into large chunks and stick them in the marinade, give them a mix around, chuck them in the fridge for at least 4 hours, but if you can do overnight, all the better. Once that's in the fridge marinating, it's time to get your naan together. Naan's really easy. The mistake a lot of people make is using the wrong kind of flour. If you use plain flour, I find they're too crumbly. If you use just strong bread flour, and they're too tough. Simple answer, mix them both together. So I made 2 naans just because I'm making it for myself, but you can always scale this up. So chuck 50 grams of plain flour and 50 grams of strong white bread flour into a bowl. Pop in 2 or 3 grams of yeast, and on the other side of the bowl, pop in 2 or 3 grams of salt. Make sure they don't combine because the salt can end up killing the yeast. Give everything a little mix around. Pop into the bowl as well about 7 grams of ghee butter. I always chuck mine in the microwave for a couple of seconds just to soften it up, so it mixes so much better. Next it's time to add our liquid ingredients. For the tang, we're going to put a bit of yogurt in it. So 20 grams of yogurt and about 45 grams of milk. Top tip, when you're trying to get things done in a hurry, I always find it's a good idea to chuck your milk and the yogurt in the microwave. Not for too long, just to warm them gently, which helps activate the yeast when you're starting. Give that all a mix around. At the moment it starts clumping together, dump it onto the worktop and start kneading away. You want to get it so the gluten's fairly developed. Once you've brought it all together, pop it in a bowl with a little bit of oil. I use ghee in this case. Now, however keen you are, you've got to have a little break. Once the naan's doubled in size, then you're good to go with that, and obviously the chicken needs to be at least 4 hours. About half an hour before the chicken's ready to come out, get a nice heavy pan, chuck it on the hob over a medium heat, and pop in a finely chopped onion, some chilies, whatever your preference, how hot you want it to be, a tin of tomato paste, and a couple of cardamom pods that you crushed in your fingers just to release a bit more of that oil. Cook it gently, stirring it all the time, just until the onions start to go a bit more opaque and darken. It'll only take you about 5 or 10 minutes. Then go and grab the rest of your spice mix and chuck it all straight into the pan. Again, keep mixing and stirring for another 4 or 5 minutes until that ginger and garlic has really had a chance to heat through and release all of the flavours. Next stage is you grab a tin of tomatoes. I use chopped tomatoes for ease, but you can use whatever you want, just as long as you break them up as they go in. Chuck them into the pan, bring it back to the boil, and then just reduce the heat to a gentle simmer, making sure that it's not sticking to the bottom of the pan. I always use a nice big non-stick pan to avoid this, but be careful if you're using anything else. After it's been reduced down for about 10 minutes, add in another tin of coconut milk. Feel free to add in about a handful of chopped coriander as well. I just generally snip the top off with a pair of scissors. Give that a mix around, same story, bring it back to the boil, turn it right down, simmer, and just let it thicken for about half an hour. While that's thickening, get your grill and whack it up to full. Also get a heavy cast iron frying pan and chuck it on the hob, really low temperature, just to gently heat the whole thing through. Grab your chicken or turkey out of the fridge and just dollop heaps of it onto a pan ready to go under the grill. When the grills reach temperature, chuck it under. We're looking to brown and pretty much burn the top of it, just to give that really nice smoky flavour through the whole dish. Now it's time to look back at the naan. Hopefully it's risen by now. Knock it back, take it out, and shape it into whatever shaped naan breads you like. And give one side a brush with some melted ghee butter. And put them one side and give them a little chance to rest. After your chicken's been in for about 10 minutes, go back to that, grab it out, and chuck it into the gently simmering pan of sauce. Give it a mix around and finish off the cooking process in the pan, just so all those flavours can come and absorb into the meat and into the sauce. It really is worth it. You don't want to be cooking the chicken the whole way through under the grill. Now go back to your naan. Put the side you oiled down into the cast iron pan you've had on the hob for a little while. It should sizzle and make a beautiful smell of singeing ghee butter. Keep it pushed down until it starts to puff up, and if you lift up one side you can just see it starting to brown. As it's browning, paint the top side again with a layer of ghee, and just as the underside turns a nice nutty brown, flip it over. When both sides are the same colour, they're ready, pop them in a stack, paint with a little bit more ghee and chuck a tea towel over the top, just to keep them moist and it'll help them soften up. Now it's time to whip up a little bit of rice, and I am a massive cheat for this. It really is easy. All you do is grab a bowl, 1 part rice and 2 parts water in volume, chuck in a bit of seasoning, I use some pilau rice seasoning, and pop it in the microwave. Give it about 9 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that, but keep checking on it because you don't want it to boil dry. The moment all the water's disappeared, take it out, fluff it up with a spoon, and leave it to stand with a tea towel over the top of it for about 5 minutes, just so the rest of the moisture can be absorbed by the rice, and it'll be lovely and fluffy, and it is so easy. Incidentally, that works with basmati rice, but if you're using long grain or any other varieties, it won't work. Once the chicken or turkey is cooked, plate up. Nice warm plate, tear up the naan, little dollop of yogurt on the top with some coriander sprinkled over. And there you have it. A really easy, make at home Indian dish. No need to go out. Perfect for a little romantic meal. Absolutely delicious, full of spice. It's got kind of a citrusy zest from that ginger, and all the spices coming together, especially the ones you ground yourself. The flavours are so powerful, so strong, and also it doesn't have that sickly sweetness of all the curries you get when you go out. It's a healthy, yummy, really heartwarming curry. Give it a go and see what you think. As always, if you like my video, please do subscribe and click like down below. And if you've got any questions, please just chuck them in the comments box as well.